Hello and welcome back to my greenhouse. It's a wet, icky, gray day outside, but we're finally starting to get a little bit of rain. I think we're supposed to get a whole lot more rain overnight, which is good because it's been quite dry this year overall. So today I thought I'd give you guys a quick peek into the greenhouse, seeing as it's pretty stuffed at the moment, and show you what's growing. Right here are my citrus trees. If you're new to the channel, I have several citrus trees. I have a clementine orange, I believe, or easy peel clementine orange. I have two Meyer lemon trees, and I have a key lime. I bring them into the greenhouse during the wintertime because even though they're supposed to be hardy down to like 20 or something, I think that because they're in pots, they don't hold up to the cold as well. So I have room in the greenhouse. I stuff them in here, and it makes things a little crowded and a little tricky at times because I didn't know until I started growing citrus that citrus trees have thorns on them, at least these varieties. So every once in a while I wind up poking or stabbing myself, but either way, they're in here, they're safe, and they're protected. Behind them, I have my last harvest of peanuts. I don't know how good they're going to be. I will probably be processing them later this week, maybe this upcoming weekend, and we'll see if the harvest was any good or not. These were planted later in the year, so I don't know if they had enough time to do what they needed to do and cook in the ground. But they are now in the greenhouse, drying out, and like I said, I'll probably be processing them later this week. I will give you an update about that later. Right here I have a little, believe this is a petunia. I've had this for a couple of years now in this hanging basket, and during the summertime it was outside, and I brought it back into the greenhouse for the winter now, and the cold doesn't really seem to bother it that much, and I enjoy the purple flowers here, and it adds a little color to the space, which is nice. Back here I have a Mandeville vine and my cigar plant and salvia and a few other plants that I knew wouldn't hold up to the cold. Brought them in here. They're in various stages of either dormancy or they're dead. I don't know. Just because a plant may look dead doesn't actually necessarily mean it is dead. It could just be going dormant for the winter time. And when the soil gets warm enough and everything else is warm enough outside, then it may just start regrowing again. Or it actually is dead. Either way, as an experiment, I'm growing some flowers here. The seeds have actually come up. And during the daytime here in the greenhouse, when the sun is out, it can get quite warm in here, up to 80 degrees with the front door open. So they're growing. I don't know what varieties they are. It was a seed packet we had gotten after one of our puppies passed away. So threw it in the pot, see what happens. If they actually if they survive till springtime. This greenhouse, FYI, if you're new to the channel, is not heated. I do have like a passive heating system with milk jugs filled with water, spray painted black, but I don't believe that it provides enough heat, especially during the nighttime. If the temperatures get stupid low, below freezing, let's say it gets to 20, then I don't believe that they provide enough heat, but it doesn't necessarily hurt anything. Up on the shelf here, I have salvia, which I dug up from the garden, and some catmints and other cuttings. On the bench right here, I've got various other cuttings and small plants like this lavender. And I'm going to try to take some of my lavender cuttings this year, put them into a pot, and put them into the rose garden. Lavender will not grow for me well in the ground here because the ground retains too much moisture for lavender. But if I take a pot and I fill it up with a very loose mixture of compost, add in some pine bark, maybe some grit, mix that all in, that hopefully will be free draining enough that if we do have a wet year next year, because this year was very dry, so next year may be very wet, we'll have to wait and see, it will all drain through and the plant will be fine. There are some Agapanthus divisions. They survived. Sometimes I make divisions, I feel like I go a little too far, and I'm not sure if the plant will survive with the cuttings and or divisions I've taken, but they have seemed to survive. Here's a red hot poker. It has survived. When I made the cutting, it was very tiny, and I didn't think it was going to make it. It has made it. It has survived. It's put on some growth. Back here, I have my radishes growing. Now, radishes normally take about 30 days to grow, but because this is an unheated greenhouse, they have been slow. slow to grow. So they may take up to 60 days to grow. But nonetheless, I have radishes growing here in the greenhouse during the winter time, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have a greenhouse, so I could try to grow things during the winter time. Another thing I'm growing in this box here is a series of lettuces. I have salad bowl mix, a mesclun, I think that's what my thing, and then in the end I have American spinach. They're growing and I'll probably be harvesting them probably in January. Lettuces and radishes can tolerate cold. They just can't tolerate a frost or a freeze on the plants, but being in the greenhouse, they're protected from that. But the cold does slow their growth. But they are growing, which is neat. Now, this greenhouse doesn't have any heat. It doesn't have any heat and doesn't have any electricity. If it did have electricity, what I could do is I could put heat mats, which I have, underneath these containers, and that would stimulate that would warm the ground, obviously, and then these plants would all grow a whole lot faster because the soil would be warmer. Unfortunately, I do not have that, but that's okay because these still grow and it just takes a little bit longer. Here on the bottom, I have several other plants which I have shrubs which I've brought in for the winter time to keep them out of the cold. I have a Berry Poppins here. There's some Wandering Jew. I have it in here. It looks ratty, but it's been surviving the cold, which is great. I also have my potatoes, which I mentioned I'm doing an experiment on. And these potatoes, they're not doing so great, but they're not doing so terrible. Now, I did make a mistake by leaving a roof vent on, and I had the door vent open several nights during the cold freezes.
Ugh. Idiot.
Totally my fault. I'm an idiot. I think these potatoes would be in a whole lot better shape if I had caught that mistake so much sooner. As we know, cold air drops, so it goes right through that bottom door vent, came right in here, and it didn't freeze the plants, but the plants, they didn't tolerate the cold. The potato tops don't tolerate the cold at all. So I'm going to let the experiment run another couple of weeks here, and then we're going to start harvesting some of these potatoes to see if they're going to be of size that I can eat them around Christmas time here. Because we're almost to Christmas, believe it or not. So that's about it here in my greenhouse. It's, as I said, pretty stuffed right now. Just check on various plants, and I see sometimes, I have a catmint here. And this catmint, it don't look so healthy and happy. I think it started to dry out. I've since soaked it, and I don't know if it'll survive. I'm kind of babying it along. We will see. And I have other plants that I think have definitely died. Here's a Salvia Amistad. This one looks like it definitely died. I mean, it feels like it's got roots. So I'm thinking maybe hold on to this guy just a little bit longer. I don't know if that's in focus or not. As you can see how there's no leaves. It looks kind of Maybe it'll bounce back. Maybe it'll come back. I'm just going to leave it on the shelf and just kind of keep it watered and see what happens. It may wind up bouncing back February, March, when it gets so much warmer out here. If you guys have any questions, comments, if you want to see something more in detail or want me to talk or have a specific question about something here in the greenhouse, please let me know in the comments below. Like I said, just a kind of quick look around the greenhouse here, and hopefully come the springtime, this place is going to get a lot more busier as I start sowing seeds, and that'll probably start in January, believe it or not. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video. This way you can follow along with my antics, see what I grow here start growing here in the greenhouse starting in January, and then what I will hopefully be planting out come the springtime. That's going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.